Claudine's canon girlfriend, and I wanted to introduce this video.
Hello everybody, I'm Magical Jill. Please excuse the interruptions.
Yay!
Oh, jeez. And today we're going to be opening up the Claudine Creep production. I got this a while ago and I never got to open it up on my channel, so I'm really excited to finally open it up and talk about it with all of you because I'm so excited. I haven't had this doll for a long time. I used to have her when I was a little kid and I missed her so much. So I'm finally glad to have her back. And before we get into this, I really wanted to mention, I hope that they make an Abominable reproduction, Creep production, or I'm going to be really mad, okay? They better make more Creep productions.
Allie said supposedly they're continuing the line, but haven't announced what would be in a wave 2.
Well,
so if that's true, fingers crossed on that, and also Cleo, because we haven't gotten an official Cleo one.
That's true, and also, if Allie's wrong, I will kill Allie.
Oh my, okay. Well,
I'm just kidding.
As your lawyer, I'll say hypothetically.
Meet the frighteningly fashionable teenage children of the world's most famous monsters. Claudine Wolf, daughter of the werewolf. Age 15, pet Crescent, a scary cute little kitten as fuzzy as I am. Favorite food, steak, rare, which means she likes it raw. BFFs, Frankie Stein and Draculaura. But we all know that BFF means that she's in love with them.
You know, Draculaura can attest to your comment on Claudine liking it raw. Oh, she's embarrassed. She's going away.
Anyway, let's open up the doll! I cannot begin to describe how excited I am to finally have this doll out and ready to just be a doll. And oh my gosh, I'm like flabbergasted because I love her so much.
You have no words. And you were a little Claudine actually for Halloween one year.
I wish I had a picture to show you guys. I could see about like if I can get somebody to send me a picture if there's still one around. But when I was, I think 10 or 11, I dressed up as Claudine with the special like Claudine Halloween outfit they sold at Walmart.
Important to note you were not racist about it.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, it didn't really matter to me back then that she was black or anything. I didn't really, like, care at all. Yeah. And, like, back then it kind of felt like, to me, at least where I lived, people weren't super, racist.
They didn't notice.
Yeah, about it, because nobody really said anything to me about it that day. I went out on Halloween as Claudine, and a lot of people were like, oh, what are you? And I was like, I'm a werewolf from Monster High. And they'd be like, oh, that's cute, and give me candy. And it's one of my special memories because I love Claudine so much. She was my favorite when I was a kid. So I wanted to start from the top. Her hair is so beautiful. And I really like that even though she's been in her box for a couple of months now, because I haven't gotten to opening her up, that all she needed was a little bit of a brush and her hair just looks the way it's supposed to look, and it looks beautiful and fluffy and pretty and feels nice and soft. Whereas a lot of other dolls I've had to open up, especially looking at you, Rainbow High dolls, a lot of times have gunk in their hair and need to be washed, and it's just, you don't really get to have her looking great out of the box. But with this doll, you do, and that reminded me of my childhood, because a lot of times that was how it was. You'd take a doll out of the box and she'd just be ready to play with. You didn't have to do any finagling or anything. Whereas now it kind of feels like you have to do a lot of finagling to make sure there's no tiny pieces for anybody to choke on, and make sure that her hair doesn't have a bunch of disgusting gunk in it, because then if your kid touches the disgusting gunk and gets their hands all sticky and then puts it in their mouth, they could get hurt, stuff like that. So I'm really excited and happy to finally have her back.
One thing I love about her is her jacket. And, you know, Claudine was kind of the poster child of the criticism against Monster High. And I don't want to make this whole thing, you know, why G1 is the best thing that ever existed, even though we all know it was. But it really frustrates me with Claudine in particular that she was so stylish and so pretty.
She was the most fashionable out of the group, supposedly.
And she was so fashionable, and I remember that one of the criticisms, because I was a little older than you at the time these came out, was that she looked like a hooker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that people said that this outfit looked hookerish, and this was like the poster child doll of the criticism against Monster High, where people were saying they're too sexualized or they look too much like this, even though characters like Draculaura are 1,600 years old.
Do you think that's why they made Claudine look like an absolute child in G3?
I think they just wanted to avoid any semblance of it, because
that makes sense.
When G2 came out, they made them all look a lot younger, G1, they don't look like they're 15, 16, 17. They look like they're 20, 21, 22. They're supposed to look older.
And then G2 came out and they look like they're 16, 15-ish.
Maybe, maybe 14.
And now G3 has come out and they look 12.
Yeah, some of them look 12, some of them look like 20.
Yeah, so it's really odd.
It's really bizarre, but you can tell in, molds like her and outfits like her, yeah, they're teenagers, but they're not really designed to be. They are and they're not. They're designed to be really fashionable, and I think she really encapsulates that, but I just thought it was interesting to bring up because I was old enough to be around when that all happened.
Yeah, when I was growing up, this was the fashion. Like, for a girl her age, or like around 15-ish, going to high school, this was the fashion. Like, this is early 2000s, late 90s kind of fashion. Something that I've always loved about these dolls, the original ones, is that they look like they're straight out of an MMO. Like, they have these fantasy-like bodies, and they're so different and cool. And they remind me of, like, a character that you'd create on an MMO. Like, be like, oh, yeah, I want to choose the werewolf class, and I want her to have really cute boots that are magical and stuff like that. And it just brings back a lot of memories to when I was younger and I had to play free games because I didn't have any money. Yeah, so they forgot her claws in the very first... They forgot her claws in the very first release of Claudine, and all of the other releases she has claws, so in this pre-production they gave her her clawed hands, which I think is awesome, and I'm really happy about it. And she has such cute ears. I've always loved her ears and her cute little earrings that she has on them. She's just so fashionable and beautiful. I've always loved this outfit to death so much. I don't think she looks like a hooker at all.
I just think it's a mean-spirited criticism from people who want everything to be bad and they want their kids to be victims.
Well, especially because when you are young, especially I was probably like 7 to 10-ish when these dolls were really popular when I was a kid. And like when you looked at this doll when you're that age, you don't think, oh, she's a hooker, oh, she's supposed to look sexy. You know what you think? Wow, that's a really pretty doll. I love how sparkly she looks. I want to play with her. That's all little girls are thinking about. Sometimes they think about, oh, wouldn't it be funny to have one of my dolls kiss? You know, it's very innocent and childlike.
Yeah.
So it just makes me really sad that adults have to put such anger and sadness onto something that's just supposed to be innocent and fun, because it ruins the innocence for children.
Well, also Monster High, like I said, they are designed to appeal to both.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been designed to appeal to older collectors like teens and up, but also be accessible to kids. I mean, you look at her, she doesn't look like she's designed to be 15. And I'm not saying...
She looks like she was supposed to be designed to entice even people as old as like 12 to 15 to want to buy her.
Yeah, and she also doesn't look like she herself is 15 years old. She looks like she's 18 to 25. And that's kind of a thing that they captured really well with the original dolls. It's why they still appeal to collectors. It's why doll collectors who customize dolls still scoop up the bodies and redo them.
And, you know, back then, it wasn't a big deal to collect dolls and have toys from when you were younger. It was normal. Especially as a teenage girl, like a lot of teenage girls would have cuddly stuffies and dolls and toys. I mean, I even remember watching an episode of Criminal Minds where one of the profilers was like walking into this teenage girl's room and was like, she doesn't actually live here. There's no toys. There's no stuffed animals. Most normal teenage girls have that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it made my heart happy because it's like, yeah, I am normal. I can still like that stuff even though I'm older.
Well, and not to completely derail your video, but also in defense of Monster High, I think that the same people who looked at these as like 40-year-old women who didn't have a job and they were waiting for their husband to get home, so they were angry at life. Those people, those Karens who needed to ruin it for everyone. Unfortunately now, a lot of younger people from the age of like 13 to 20 have been taught to have those same attitudes.
Because they were raised by that person.
So they'll look at these dolls and they'll say, she looks like a prostitute. Or they'll look at these dolls and say, well, she's made for the male gaze. Or they'll look at these dolls and say stuff like that.
She's anti-feminist.
When this was designed for everybody, I mean, it was designed so guys would look at this doll and be like, wow, she's pretty. And girls would look at this doll and say, wow, she's pretty. And everybody would want to own the Monster High dolls.
Because she's pretty.
They were trendy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason they were.
And they're still trendy to this day. People still love the originals.
And the pre-productions sell out every time they pop up on any store.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about that. There's not a whole lot of doll lines, other than things like Barbie, that can just sell out really quickly like that. Mm-hmm. You know, like even Rainbow High, you still see old Rainbow High dolls on shelves all the time. And like Legos, you still see old Lego sets on shelves all the time. Like there's a lot of toys that don't just sell out right away, and Monster High is one of them, and I think that's really special.
I know you always really liked these boots in general. We saw somebody make these on Instagram, I think.
I have always loved these boots so much. I've always wanted a pair of these boots, but they're so high-heeled, and I can't walk in high heels that I've never bought any to try and make any. But they are so, so beautiful. They're called, like in the video game that we're playing right now, New Ghoul in School, I think they're called like Lockhart boots or something like that, or Lock boots, and they're really cute. I just love them so much. I've always loved her boots. I just think she's so beautiful, and I love her short little skirt. Sure, they could have made it a little longer, they could have made it a little bit more high-waisted, but who really cares? She's just supposed to look cute.
Well, yeah, and again, these are meant to appeal to everybody. Mm-hmm. You're not weird if you're 25 and you grew up with these and you think, wow, she's hot. Because guess what? This character would be like in her 30s by now.
Yeah, from the time she came out to now, yeah.
And also, they were designed to appeal to doll collectors at every age. And I don't mean this to be mean, but why do you think that a massive portion of the Monster High doll collector line is gay men in their 30s? Because they appeal to everyone. Mm-hmm. They appeal to the straightest dude like me, who's like, wow, these are really cool, high-quality toys, to like gay guys in their 30s, to girls like you who are barely, 21, to younger kids. I mean, this is, I don't know. I don't mean to like derail your video at all and make it like pro Monster High, but come on, there's a reason it was so successful and people love it. And I get really tired of people trying to take shots at G1 now, because the subreddit of Monster High is filled with that. Twitter is filled with it about like, oh, why you shouldn't like this or whatever. And they're so fun, they're so cool, and it's just people who can't enjoy things who have to make everybody else not have fun.
It is very, very sad, and I absolutely love being able to play with these dolls. Something I always loved when I was a kid about these dolls in particular is all of the movement that they have, that their joints are loose enough to just be able to play with and have fun with, but without being so loose that they fall off really easily. And that's something that I've always really liked. I was always really careful with my Monster High dolls to not lose their arms and legs. And then one day, somebody came over to my house and lost their arms and legs, and it really made me so upset.
Well, one thing that's crazy with them too is the articulation on them. Action figures have had this problem forever. They used to have no articulation. Then in the 90s to early 2000s, they got tons. And now a lot of times, if you want action figures with a lot of articulation that don't look super jointy and fake, you have to start paying way too much money. Monster High was kind of pioneering that idea back then of all of these articulation points, and look at all the dolls it ended up affecting. Rainbow High, Made to Move Barbie, all these. Monster High was out there kind of setting a standard for other dolls that I don't think would be as good today if a character like Claudine hadn't come out the way she did back then.
I agree. I'd like to round out this video with reading a little bit from her diary, but first I wanted to mention this is her cute little cat, and this is her cute little purse that she has. And I don't remember necessarily if the brush and the stand were this color or not, but personally I would have made them purple. So last but not least, we have the diary. It got bent in the box from the way they put it in, because for some reason they put this thing underneath it.
This is always my criticism with the diaries, is that for how high quality the doll is, you couldn't do just a little bit of like a cardboard cover so it wouldn't get destroyed.
No.
That's all you need.
Also, mine has an imperfection on it. It's got like a weird piece of, well, it kind of just looks like a little piece of poop above the C.
Sorry about that.
Like, it just has a little piece of poop above the C for Claudine, which is upsetting. I hope I can get that off. This is my diary. If you want your life to last longer than it takes to read it, you won't. Later on, Crescent, the alpha kitty, must have sensed my mood, because instead of spending the night prowling around, he curled up in my lap and kept me company while I sorted through my funk. That's fun. You can really tell when reading this diary her very strong, intense personality, and how she was very much a out there person. Like, she was an outgoing, very extroverted kind of girl, and it makes me really sad that it seems like they took a lot of that personality away from her in G3, because now she's just shy and small and mousy, and this girl used to be the pioneer for confidence. The reason she was my favorite when I was a kid is because she was always trying to tell everybody to believe in themselves and to be confident in themselves and to wear some awesome fashion. And, you know, she was just very strong-willed and very strong in her personality, and she was the star of the show. I don't know if she necessarily thought she was the star of the show. I don't think she was as egotistical as Cleo, but she definitely stole the show.
Well, and a character like this, too, I think it means more to people like you and me who have always had social anxiety problems and anxiety disorders, both of us. A character like that really connects with you, who comes in and takes charge and stands up for their friends. And
she is very much a leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is very full of personality, and it feels like they dulled her down a lot in the new one, and that makes me sad, because the reason I loved her so much is because of all of this confidence and this leadership that she had. So her cat isn't entirely just hard plastic and has no articulation. You can't really move anything on it, which is a shame, but that's how it was back then. And the purse is also just hard plastic, just like that, except the strap is a little bit more squishy so you can maneuver it. But that's just how accessories were back then. I'm pretty sure almost every single accessory I had for my dolls was like that. So it's not really a big deal to me, it's more of like a throwback. And either way, I'm really happy to be able to have her with her original accessories included, because it just makes me so happy. I hope you all really liked this video, because I absolutely love this doll and I love Monster High. I want to make more Monster High videos in the future, talking about Monster High, reviewing the dolls, all this other cool stuff, and I make some really awesome other videos about Sailor Moon and about Rainbow High and Shadow High and Barbie and all this other stuff, so I can't wait for you guys to check it out. I also wanted to mention before you go that I'm having a huge clearance sale on my website. I have a section now called Clearance on EnchantedGlamour.com, and you can go there and there's a bunch of my resin pieces from when I first started doing resin, and a lot of them are half off or more, so you can go check that out, maybe get a few of them, because it's really awesome and they're almost all one of a kind unless stated otherwise. So I hope you guys really liked this video, and I hope you consider subscribing and leaving a like, and I'll see you all next time.
Thank you for letting me be in it.
Bye!